For over a century, a tradition of intercollegiate athletic excellence has been strong in central Nebraska. This is an inside look at that tradition. This is the University of Nebraska-Kearney Loper Review. Loper Review is brought to you by Nebraska Star Beef, from our family to yours.
Hello and welcome to this month's edition of Loper Review. Now, you might be wondering why I'm standing in front of some very large washing machines and what that has to do with UNK athletics. Well, quite a bit actually, and we'll explain that to you as our show unfolds. And we'll also have what you could call highlights of two different events that actually have a lot in common for UNK. And for the second time, we'll have a Texan on our senior spotlight. All that plus another enlightening edition of MIAA 101 with Professor Kelsey. It's all right here on Loper Review, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
Loper Review is brought to you by Nebraska Star Beef.
The Nebraska Star Beef Pure Promise. No antibiotics, no hormones, humane treatment of animals, USDA choice or higher, a price that is always fair, and satisfaction guaranteed. At Nebraska Star Beef, we pay close attention to what we feed our families and are passionate about delivering beef that you can feel good about serving to your family. Visit us at nebraskastarbeef.com for more information.
This is Loper Review, brought to you by Nebraska Star Beef.
Welcome back. You know, of all the people that help with the success of UNK athletics, people will so rarely think about the equipment manager. Of course, the stereotype is the equipment manager is just somebody who pumps up the basketballs and washes the uniforms. For the better part of the last 5 decades, the man in charge of all that has been Dick Collins, who's stepping down from that job that began when he was a Kearney State College student.
I started in 1967 as a student manager for Al Zickman, and also worked with Charlie Foster with track. And then in 1970, they decided to hire a full-time equipment manager. I was still a student at that point. And at the end of football season, all I had left to do second semester was student teach. And I, at that point, decided I didn't want to teach school. At that point, I decided to enlist in the Navy. And I left, I spent 4 years, a little over 4 years in the Navy. Came back in I got out in August of '74. I came back, finished my degree, and then graduated in May of 1976 with a degree in recreation, Bachelor of Science degree in recreation. I started in August of 1976 as the second full-time equipment manager.
We have 100% confidence in Dick Collins, and we don't, Dick orders all of our equipment for us. We don't even, as coaches, that's an area where we're not even concerned with. We don't really have any responsibilities in there because we trust Dick, and Dick has always done a great job for us. So we don't pay too much attention to the equipment aspect of basketball because Dick Collins takes care of all of that for us, which does alleviate some of our problems and headaches.
Well, for me, it's been a luxury to actually have Dick Collins as our equipment manager. I mean, you don't have to worry about purchasing helmets and shoulder pads and thigh pads and taking care of that inventory and doing all those kind of things and being a certified helmet fitter. And so it's been a luxury for us in football, you know, not to have at least 1 or 2 of our staff members in football spend a fair amount of their time dealing with equipment, laundry, you know, broken equipment, ordering equipment, and being an expert in all that stuff. So it's been a luxury for us.
Oh yeah, everything has. From materials that they use in uniforms, you know, everything's wicking now. It wicks the moisture away from you. Everything has changed dramatically. Of course, in 40 years, I suppose you should expect that to happen. You know, all of that was along with the technology that they've come up with, where you can put all of your inventories on a computer, which I don't do. But all of the technology things, the equipment in football has gotten so much better. But in the same sense, kids put all that equipment on and they think they're invincible. That's when they go out and get hurt. So, and that's the worst thing about this job is seeing the injuries. I've seen a lot of careers end prematurely because of injuries.
And when we have kids that come back, we have a lot of ex-players, basketball players come back, and one of the first things they talk about when they come to my office is how's Mr. C doing, and when they get done visiting with us coaches, they head down to visit with Dick Collins.
No, because Dick had been here for 30 years before I came here, so you know, I mean, it was already in place. Here's the amount of money you give Dick out of the budget to keep with the equipment up to snuff, and he deals with the vendors and all the sales reps and all that kind of stuff. So there really wasn't a whole lot of learning curve on his part at all. On mine, it was pretty simple: give it to Dick, let him take care of it, and that's what he did.
Oh, the highlights are the relationships you build with the kids. Not only the student athletes, but the coaches, the athletic staff, the custodians. You know, the grounds crew, the plumbers, the electricians. I have more of those people stop in almost on a daily basis just to say hi. They're on their way through. That's the important thing, is the relationship. I won't remember win-loss records or scores of events. I won't remember any of that. All I'm going to remember is the relationships.
Well, Dick's assistant, Ryan Lovanger, will now take over for his former boss. We did not ask him if he's planning on matching that record for longevity by sticking around until the year 2050. We certainly want to wish Dick the best of luck in the future. He plans on filling his retirement with some fishing, some golfing, and some outreach work for his church. Wish him the best of luck. Time for us to take a quick break. When we come back, a couple of stories centered around something near and dear to me. We'll talk about food. We'll serve that up next, right here on Loper Review.
Loper Review is brought to you by Nebraska Star Beef.
The Nebraska Star Beef Pure Promise. No antibiotics, no hormones, humane treatment of animals, USDA choice or higher, a price that is always fair, and satisfaction guaranteed. At Nebraska Star Beef, we pay close attention to what we feed our families and are passionate about delivering beef that you can feel good about serving to your family. Visit us at nebraskastarbeef.com for more information.
This is Loper Review, brought to you by Nebraska Star Beef.
Welcome back. Now, as promised, a couple of stories that kind of center around food. Back in February, hundreds of people spent time prior to a Loper basketball game enjoying, or in some cases, daring to take part in the annual Red Cross Chili Feed that takes place in the Health and Sports Center's practice gym. Then this past month, a more formal dinner was held to honor all the senior athletes at UNK.
We're doing it for a long number of years. I've been involved with it for the last 4 years. It's a tradition not only here in Kearney, but also with the chapter in Grand Island. It's been a great fundraiser for both chapters.
And it seems like it's a nice connection with UNK because it's always here.
Yep, absolutely. They've been great to let us host it here using their facility, as well as giving us admission to the game for anyone that buys a ticket. So they not only get a 30-course meal tonight, but they also get free admission to the game. So they get a full stomach and some great entertainment.
And exactly where does the money go when it's donated here? Does it stay in town, or is it the international organization?
The majority of the money stays at the local chapter, and we're able to help with disaster relief. So we've had a lot of house fires lately. That helps with the individuals when they need housing immediately after the fire, when they need clothing and shelter and food, and it provides all of that. We also have the blood services side. We also help provide the materials for training for, the traditional swimming lessons that everyone's used to. So there's a large number of things that we assist the community with.
And it's all kind of just right here in the neighborhood?
Yes, yep.
How did that kind of come about? I mean, it's been around for a while, but how did chili and Red Cross, how does that correlate?
To tell you the truth, I'm not exactly sure. It was before my time, but it's been something that has worked out well. We have the great partnerships. We have some great sponsors with the Buckle and Runza that are helping put this on this year. And so it's just been something that's worked great for the community and the Red Cross, and we have the great support from the sponsors.
And I know people really get into it. I mean, there's a lot of great creative ideas out there. It's kind of neat to see that energy associated with the Red Cross.
Yep, absolutely. Tonight is super interesting because people get to develop their own recipes. Last year we had a chili that had elk in it from the Elks Club. We have spicy chilies, we have cheesy soups, we have anything that anyone could want, and people are able to put their own little spin on it. Cabela's has a shrimp and white bean soup, so we have a lot of interesting creative cooks out there.
Cool. What haven't I touched on that I kind of need to make sure we know about?
We are always looking for volunteers on the disaster services side. You can get trained to be able to go out and help respond, whether it's a house fire, whether it's a tornado, it's a flood. We see all of those in central Nebraska, unfortunately, on a regular basis. We also encourage people to go out and donate blood that has a short shelf life, and it's something that, unfortunately, we always need as well. And so we encourage people to support in whatever way that they can.
Is an event like this really good for that kind of recruiting people to help with that?
It is just awareness of what the organization is and that we are here and we're located locally. We have volunteers as well as the staff here and board members here, so they can ask anybody with a Red Cross volunteer sticker on about the organization and where can I go to volunteer, where can I go to donate. They can also donate monetarily if they don't have the time or the expertise to volunteer their time. So,
great. Andrea, and while fun is the focus of the Chili Feed, its serious purpose is to raise money for the many worthy programs of the Red Cross. While the senior dinner appears serious, it's often a lighthearted way for the athletic department to say thank you to all the young men and women who have chosen UNK.
It's a real honor and a pleasure to be with you all this evening and to welcome you to the 5th annual Workman Senior Athlete Awards and Recognition Dinner. I'm a stand-in this evening. Chancellor Christensen isn't able to be with you this evening, so I guess that means I'm second string. Actually, I'm probably not even second string. I don't believe I'd make the travel squad of any of the teams represented this evening. So it is indeed a pleasure for me to be here, taking that extra step, going that extra mile. I think all of this is great advice, but tonight is about a little bit more than that. It's about good advice, it's about great advice, but you're also here to savor your careers. Sometimes we forget to do that in times. We recognize that it takes hard work to get where we are. When you're there, as you all have, when you've arrived, relish that a little bit, enjoy it.
Teamwork. And a lot of people will say, a lot of candidates will say, I'm a great team player. But very few truly understand what that means, the way that you all would understand what that means. It means a lot more than the ability to get along and play nice with others. It means the ability to recognize what your team needs of you, whether that be to be a leader at one point or a role player at another. But to understand what that is and be able to fill that role.
You all are wonderful ambassadors for the University of Nebraska-Kearney. The Chancellor and I are certainly very proud of you, and we certainly also look forward to hearing much more about your successes throughout the remainder of your lives. So thank you very much for the opportunity to be here this evening.
We have no documented reports of someone who tried every single sample at the Chili Feed, although I can testify that I did give it a pretty good try. Time for us to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll shine our senior spotlight on a Texan who found their way to UNK.
Loper Review is brought to you by Nebraska Star Beef.
The Nebraska Star Beef Pure Promise. No antibiotics, no hormones, humane treatment of animals, USDA choice or higher, a price that is always fair, and satisfaction guaranteed. At Nebraska Star Beef, we pay close attention to what we feed our families and are passionate about delivering beef that you can feel good about serving to your family. Visit us at nebraskastarbeef.com for more information.
This is Loper Review, brought to you by Nebraska Star Beef.
And welcome back. Well, time now to shine our senior spotlight on one of the outstanding baseball players here at UNK, Brian Wiest. And Brian, thank you so much for your time and joining us.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
I guess it makes sense that we're doing this interview inside because this has been a tough spring to play baseball, hasn't it?
Yes, sir. Very, very cold.
And you guys have had, it's cost you a lot of games and a lot of opportunities to be outside.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we've had a couple of series canceled because of it, and then obviously not very many practices outside.
It hasn't cooled you down a whole lot, though. You were MIAA Player of the Week a couple of times throughout the course of the season. How do you, looking back on your year, how do you kind of feel that your senior year went here at UNK?
Well, from a personal standpoint, I feel like it went really well. Would have liked the team to do a little better, but you can't really control that with all the injuries and the weather and all the traveling stuff that we've had to go through.
Tough schedule.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Now, surprisingly, you're not the first Texan that we've actually had. We had Raytheon Stotts on from the wrestling team here a few weeks back. How does a player from North Dallas rather, how do you come to UNK? How did you find the university?
Well, first I started off at Paris Junior College down in Paris, Texas. I stayed there for 2 years. After I was done there, I transferred up to the University of Nebraska, and I spent a year there. And at the end of that, there's a lot of things that happened, forced me to try and find another place. And I actually had a teammate of mine on the Joplin Outlaws 2 summers ago. He played here at UNK. His name was Austin Parker, and he just got me in contact with Coach Day, and I talked to him throughout the summer, and he was really the only one who would keep tabs on me and check in with me, see how I was doing, see how I was thinking. And he got me prepared to get into school. Even he didn't know, nobody knew where I was going to go, but he was just getting me prepared. And then finally I just decided, it was like, you know what, this guy seems like he really wants me, so I guess I'm a Loper now.
What was the greatest transition, going from Texas and being in Nebraska, or going from a Division I school at Nebraska to Division II here at UNK?
Well, they were both pretty big transitions, but I'm going to have to be honest and say the biggest transition was going from Texas to Nebraska.
Now, be careful now, but what is the greatest challenge for a Texan coming into Nebraska?
The weather. Down in Texas back, way back when, I remember when 43 was just unbearably cold, and now 43, I'm considering putting on a t-shirt.
We're making you tough, Ryan. We're
Exactly.
making you tough. You're one of only 4 seniors on the baseball team. What kind of leadership expectations do you place on yourself, and what does the team kind of place on you in terms of being one of the very few senior leaders on the squad?
Well, me personally, I try to lead by example. I'm not a very vocal leader. I don't think people would like it if I got vocal. But I just try and go out every day, do my job, and whatever the game brings me that day, I do my best to help the team, and everything seems to work out pretty well after that.
And they've kind of moved you around a little bit. You're playing some first base and just about every position in the outfield.
Yes, sir. Besides center field, I'm just a corner outfielder.
Now, why not center field?
I guess I'm not fast enough.
You said it, I didn't, Brian. Started the season, a lot of power. I mean, you started the season on a pretty good home run tirade to get things going. The power has kind of quieted down a little bit. Do you think that's because the scouting along the MIAA has kind of changed the pitches that you're seeing?
From what I can see, yes, sir. Early in the season, they weren't particularly pitching me in any sort of way, but as the season went on and I started to really hit the ball well, they started to really try and stay away from the center of the plate. So, my walk numbers have definitely gone up in the second half of the season. It seems they really just try and stay away from something I can really drive.
Just kind of pitching around you a little bit?
A little bit, yes, sir.
You've been outstanding for the team, and coming up here in just a few weeks is the amateur baseball draft for the major leagues. Talk a little bit about what you're looking forward to with that draft and what your decision will be if that phone call comes.
I'm anxiously looking forward to it. It can't get here fast enough. I got to wait a month, so that's going to be the longest month of my life. I don't really exactly know how the draft works. I've never had to deal with it before, but I would assume I just wait for scouts to give me a call. I think I hear usually they give you a call, let you know, hey, we're probably going to take you this round, whatever, let you know what's going on. So I guess basically I'm just going to have to wait for scouts to call me, and then once the draft comes around, and turn on the TV.
When that phone call comes, does it matter what organization calls? Does it matter what league they plan on sending you to? What's your decision going to be if you get that call?
Well, it's not going to matter to me what organization calls, because whichever organization decides to pick me up in the draft, they obviously want me, and I want to be somewhere where I'm wanted. And I'd like to start in short season A-ball, but you know what? Any way I can get in the league is a good way for me.
So you're going to go for it?
Yes, sir.
Obviously, growing up in Texas, probably the discussion about UNK or Kearney, Nebraska doesn't come up very much. But since then, friends and family have asked you about Kearney. What do you say to them? How do you kind of describe what your time has been like and what Kearney, Nebraska has been like for you?
Well, it's funny that you say, not many people talk about UNK. I honestly never heard of UNK until they played Nebraska in the before the conference started. I saw them on the scoreboard. I was like, UNK, never even heard of them. But when I go back to Texas, I tell them, UNK we're a top-notch Division II baseball program, and it's honestly some of the hardest schooling I've ever had to deal with in college. And I don't know, it's a great place. It's a small town, kind of with a big town feel. It's just a really cozy place to be and play baseball, go to school, and live and everything. I've enjoyed my time here, and it's I'll definitely be coming back.
And you got here because of a recommendation. Do you foresee the possibility or the opportunity that you would recommend UNK to other folks?
If they are in struggle looking for places, especially down in the South, where many northern schools don't, they don't come to recruit down south. I for sure would definitely recommend a call to Coach Day, see what he's got available. So yeah, no, definitely I would recommend this school to anybody.
Brian, appreciate the time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Time for us to take a quick break. We'll continue with more Loper Review right after this.
Loper Review is brought to you by Nebraska Star Beef.
The Nebraska Star Beef Pure Promise. No antibiotics, no hormones, humane treatment of animals, USDA choice or higher, a price that is always fair, and satisfaction guaranteed. At Nebraska Star Beef, we pay close attention to what we feed our families and are passionate about delivering beef that you can feel good about serving to your family. Visit us at nebraskastarbeef.com for more information.
This is Loper Review, brought to you by Nebraska Star Beef.
Welcome back. You know, there are 7 schools in the MIAA who have a geographical direction in their name. Well, now Professor Kelsey in MIAA 101 will take a look at the only 2 schools who have the state name and then the direction.
The MIAA has Northwest Missouri, Central Missouri, Northeast Oklahoma, and Central Oklahoma. And would you believe that Missouri Southern and Missouri Western are the only 2 schools that start with the name of the state and not the direction? One of the youngest schools in the MIAA, Missouri Southern, began as Joplin Junior College in 1937 and became a 4-year school 40 years later. At that time, it was named Missouri Southern State College. Another 26 years went by before the school attained university status. The tragic tornado that devastated Joplin in 2011, which occurred the day after the school's spring graduation, missed the MSU campus by about 2 miles, making it possible for the school to serve as an emergency shelter. The MSU athletic teams are the Lions, and they are one of UNK's former Central States Conference rivals. The mascot's name is Rory, and among the Lions' athletic high points are a 1972 NAIA Football National Championship and 1992 Softball National Championship. Perhaps the best known of the school's alumni is Dennis Weaver, remembered by the baby boomer generation as Marshall Dillon's deputy, Chester, on the Gunsmoke TV series. As far as our geography lesson is concerned, just look back at your notes from the last edition of MIAA 101. Get on State Highway 171 just south of Pittsburgh, Kansas, and take it all the way to Joplin. Go south on Highway 249 a short distance, where the first exit you'll see is Zora Street. That's Zora, not Zorro. Like Missouri Southern, Missouri Western also started as a junior college when it was founded in 1915. It was quite a controversy when it became a 4-year school in 1964. We mentioned that controversy in an earlier edition of MIAA 101. Northwest Missouri State is less than an hour away in Maryville, and a large number of people didn't see the need for 2 similar state schools so near to each other. Backers of Northwest Missouri saw their worst fears almost come true when there was an attempt to close the school in 1988, but the attempt failed. The school's mascot is the mythical Griffin. Among their athletic accomplishments is an Elite 8 appearance by the women's basketball team in 1994. However, perhaps the Griffins are best known not for what they've done on the field, but who has paid for a couple of those fields. The Kansas City Chiefs chipped in 2/3 of that $15 million it took to build the school's football practice facility, which the Chiefs use as their summer training camp. That includes a regulation 100-yard indoor field as well. The Griffins football game field is Spratt Stadium, named after Elliott Spratt, an executive of the Hilliard Company. They're the people who, among other things, bring you those little pink hockey pucks for restrooms. Missouri Western is another one of the MIAA schools that is easy to get to. Simply get off of I-29 at the Highway 36 exit. Go east to the first intersection, and the campus is only about 4 blocks back to the northwest. So there you have it, a couple of junior colleges that grew into full universities. Make sure you join us next time on MIAA 101. It's the last class of the school year.
Thanks, Professor. You know, we've had enough of these editions that I'm beginning to realize that I probably need to do a little extra credit in MIAA 101. Well, that does wrap up our show, though, for this month. We want to thank you for joining us. We'll be back again next month. Until then, we'll see you, and go Lopers.
Loper Review has been brought to you by Nebraska Star Beef.
The Nebraska Star Beef Pure Promise. No antibiotics, no hormones, humane treatment of animals, USDA choice or higher, a price that is always fair, and satisfaction guaranteed. At Nebraska Star Beef, we pay close attention to what we feed our families and are passionate about delivering beef that you can feel good about serving to your family. Visit us at nebraskastarbeef.com for more information.